Hi, this is Munson with Munson Music, and we're going to talk about how you could strum through a song called Fallen by Imagine Dragons. And we end up capoing this on 2nd fret, but it kind of starts off with this really cool intro, like where you can play open G, and then 2nd on the G, and then open D, and then 2nd fret on the D. So kind of alternating between a G note and an A note on the G string, and a D note and an E note on the D string. And then from that lick, then we'd be going into kind of our intro verse. And we start on a G major chord, and we play G major. First finger goes to the A on the 2nd fret, 2nd finger on the low E string on the 3rd fret, and 3rd finger on the high E string on the 3rd fret. And if you strum all those together, that sounds a G major chord, and it sounds really happy. Now, a good substitute for that, or another way to play G major, is kind of taking the 3rd finger and going to the B string 3rd fret, pinky on the high E string 3rd fret. If you strum all those together, that sounds a G major. Or another way to play G major. And then from the G, we're going to be going to a C major chord. We're going to play C major. First finger goes to the B string on the 1st fret, 2nd finger on the D string 2nd fret, and 3rd finger on the A string on the 3rd fret. And if you strum the A string to the high E string, that sounds a C major chord, and it sounds really happy. Now you might also want to think about something called C major knot, where you do your first finger on the D string 2nd fret, 2nd finger on the A string 3rd fret, 3rd finger on the B string 3rd fret, and the pinky on the high E string 3rd fret. And if you strum the A string to the high E string, that sounds a C major nod. It sounds really happy. And then from the C, we're going to be going back to our G, and another G, and then we go to C, and then we do another C, and then we go to an E minor. And then we play E minor. First finger goes to the A on the 2nd fret, 2nd finger on the D string on the 2nd fret. And if you strum all those together, that sounds an E minor chord, and it sounds really sad. Now you also might want to think about using an E minor 7, where you do your 3rd finger on the B string 3rd fret, pinky on the high E string 3rd fret, and if you strum all those together, that sounds like E minor 7. It sounds really sad. And then from the E minor, we're going to be going back to our G chord, and then we'll be going to our C chord, and then another C, and then we go back to E minor, and then we go to G, and then we do a C, and then we do another C, and it's almost like a stop top C at the end. So a lot of times with a song like this, though, to make it more interesting, I like using some strum patterns. And through the song, you may want to think about just kind of doing 8 downs on each chord, and kind of keeping it as kind of a muting idea. So I'm kind of laying the flat of my right hand down on top of the strings to kind of work it through. So G, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, C's. You want to kind of play around with that. E minor, G, C, C, E minor, G, C, big C. And then from there, then we'd be going into our chorus part, which we start on the G, and then we do another G, and then we go to E minor, and then we go to a D major chord, and we play D major. First finger goes to the G on the 2nd fret, 2nd finger goes to the high E on the 2nd fret, and 3rd finger goes to the B string on the 3rd fret. And if you strum the D string to the high E string, that sounds a D major chord, and it sounds really happy. And then from the D, we're going to be going back to the G, kind of repeating that G, G, and the E minor and D. And then at the end, we go to our C chord twice, and then we kind of go to our G chord twice. So we try our chorus, that way you'd have the G, G, E minor, D, G, G, E minor, D, C, C, G, G. And then from there, we'll be repeating those parts until we get to our bridge part. And our bridge is all kind of a vamp on the E minor. So we just want to do a lot of the E minor when we get to that part. And then from there, we go into our last chorus, which does this really cool D change. And actually, on some of the D chords, you'll kind of hear the low E string on the 2nd fret kind of come out of the Ds. And so you may want to, on those spots, actually, if you hear them, you may want to jump into D/F sharp, where you play D/F sharp. First finger goes on the low E on the 2nd fret, 2nd finger on the G string 2nd fret, 3rd finger on the high E 2nd fret, and a pinky on the B string on the 3rd fret. And if you strum all those together, that sounds a D chord, but it's got an F sharp in the bass, which is why we call that D/F sharp. Now you could also use the regular D shape and use the thumb to kind of cover that 2nd fret note. Or you may want to think about something called D/F sharp, where you do the first finger on the low E string on the 2nd fret, 2nd finger on the G string 2nd fret, 3rd finger on the B string 3rd fret, and the pinky on the high E string on the 3rd fret. And if you strum all those together, that sounds a D sus / F sharp. So that might be kind of cool for that last D change, just to kind of do that to help lead into our outro. And on our outro, we go to E minor, and then we go to D, and then we go to a G, and then we go back to the D, and you hear this really quick change to a B7 chord. And the way you play B7, first finger goes to the D on the 1st fret, 2nd finger on the A string 2nd fret, 3rd finger on the G string 2nd fret, and the pinky on the high E string on the 2nd fret. And if you strum the A string to the high E string, that sounds a B7 chord. It sounds really, really messed up. And that B7 is really, really quick, and it kind of helps point back to our E minor. So on that part, if you're kind of doing the muting, it'd be kind of 8 on the E minor, 8 on the D, 8 on the G, but then 4 on a D, 4 on a B7, and then the E minor, D, and then we got a C, and then we kind of do a big G at the very, very end of our outro. Now the weird part is, to play along with Imagine Dragons, instead of starting on a G major chord, they're starting on an A major chord. So to play along with the recording, what you want to do is kind of take a capo, and you put the capo on 2nd fret, then now your G major is really an A major chord, your C major is really a D major chord, your E minor is really an F sharp minor, your D major is really an E major, and your B7 is really a C sharp 7. But to take it from the very beginning, you may want to kind of kick it off with kind of that intro lick that we were talking about, kind of the 0202 idea. Kind of kick it off and be like, oh yeah, man, fall, I love falling. Or you could just kind of go right into the chords, and then we have kind of our G, G, C, C, G, G, C, C, E minor, G, C, C, E minor, G, C, and kind of a big C. And then from there, we go into our chorus part. So we have kind of our G, G, E minor, D, G, G, E minor, D, C, C, G, G. And then from there, we go into our next verse. Now something else I think about using with the song, though, is something called a strum pattern. And one of my favorite strum patterns for a 4/4 light, this is down, down, up, up, down, up. So you took the G and just tried that a lot. You'd have down, down, up, up, down, up, down, down, up, up, down, up, down, down, up, up, down, up. So we tried our next verse that way. We'd have G, down, up, down, up, G, down, up, down, up, C, down, up, down, up, C, G, C, C, E minor, G, C, C, E minor, G, C, and then kind of a big C. And then from there, we go into our chorus parts. We try our chorus that way. We'd have the G, down, up, down, up, G, E minor, D, G, G, E minor, D, C, C, G, G. And then from there, we go into our bridge part. So you could kind of work just kind of that E minor with the downs kind of through that part. Or you may want to kind of dig on kind of the down, down, up, down, up, and kind of work it that way. Or a lot of times with a song like this too, I like to add bass notes to the strum pattern. So you can do kind of a bass on the low E and then do your down, up, down, up. Kind of digging on that bass. Down, up, down. And on the E minor, you'd have the low E for the bass. On the G, you'd have the low E for the bass. On the D, you'd have the D for the bass. Unless it's the D / F sharp, in which case you have the low E string for the bass. And then and for the B7, we'd have the A string for the bass when we did that. If we were going to throw in a bass note for that chord. So we try that bridge with kind kind of a bass down, up, down, you'd have that E minor with low bass, E minor bass, E minor with low bass, E minor with low bass. You could kind of vamp on the bridge that way too. And then from there, then we'd be going into our last chorus. We kind of substitute in that D chord at the very end. So we'd have our G with the bass, down, up, down, G with low bass, E minor with low bass, D with the D bass, G with low bass, G with low bass, E minor with low bass, D with the D bass, C with A bass, C with A bass, and have your G with low bass, or you can throw in the D/F sharp to lead us into our outro. And if we tried our outro with kind of the bass down, up, down, the weird part is where you got that D chord to the B7 chord. So you kind of do a bass down, up, or down, up on those chords. So you have E minor with the bass, down, up, down, up, D with the D bass, G with low E bass, D with the D bass, B7 with A bass, E minor with low E bass, D with the D bass, C with an A bass, and kind of a big G. But that's the basics of how you get strummed through Fallen by Imagine Dragons. So good luck!